Welcome to Blushing Phoenix, a safe place for you to rest your heart, a place where you can catch your breath, words for when you can't quite find the words. Here we unpack common struggles, find our way back to our center so we can thrive. Here's your host, April Poynter.
When's the last time that you really spent some time with yourself and just allowed yourself to be? Yesterday I was at yoga and I've been finding it very profound because I'm new to yoga. And one thing that the instructor said is that put one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. And what is your word for today? Like, what do you want to bring into your practice? And a big thing for me that just came to mind was, I'm sorry. And I am 11 months postpartum. So I had, for those of you who don't know my story, I have two children already. I've got a 14-year-old girl, a 9-year-old boy, and we had a little surprise COVID baby. So we were not planning on having any more children. And Axton, who we call Axe, joined our lives last July. He's coming up on his first birthday. And with my two children prior to Axe, I bounced back. My body bounced back very quickly, having a child in my early 20s and one in my late 20s. Difference in the response rate of bouncing back, quote unquote, but I was able to get back to me, get back in shape, get back to feeling really good about myself. And with Axe, having Axe in my 30s, late 30s, by the way, it's been a little more difficult to bounce back. And what does bounce back even mean? And I've come to this place where, like 11 months into having this baby, I realized that I was dealing with a lot of postpartum depression. I had no clue. I knew that I kind of felt down. There was a lot of life altering things that happened to me over the past couple of years. I mean, I'm not the only one. People have really had some major sad times since 2020 and the pandemic and life altering. I mean, the whole world experienced a trauma together. So I'm not just saying I'm the only one, but for me, there were a lot of things that happened, which was that my dad passed away in 2020, and I abruptly departed from a job that I love. I've worked with people that I loved so much, and to just quickly depart from them abruptly takes its toll. Started a new job, had a baby, not necessarily in that order, but just a lot of changes that I felt like, well, that's why I feel the way I feel. And then finally, I looked up online postpartum depression and realized that you can absolutely still be dealing with postpartum depression 11 months postpartum and then some. So what I found is that if you don't deal with it early on, that it actually can progress into something a little, well, actually just worse later on. So I talked to my husband about it. I'm like, hey, I think I'm really dealing with some postpartum depression. And he said, do you need some help? And I said, I don't know. I don't think so yet. And so I put in place, basically, I asked myself, what is one thing you could do right now? One practical thing, not hard. What's one practical thing you could do right now that would make you feel better? And for me, I was sitting in a room filled with baskets of clean laundry. And I don't know about you, but my environment's really important to me. I can think better, I can be more creative. I just feel more refreshed and alive and able to work better in a very clear environment. And so the thing that I could do practically right now is just fold one basket of laundry. And when you're dealing with depression, that is something that is so incredibly hard to do one thing, just that one thing. I know you may be listening to this and be like, just freaking do it. And I've actually been in a mindset before where I'm like, stop complaining and just do stuff. But when you are dealing with depression, that one basket of laundry holds the weight of the world. So if you do it, the thought of doing it is heavy and hard. And then if you don't do it, there's this shame around it that is heavy. So anyway, I got up, poured one basket of laundry out on my bed, and just folded the one basket. And once I got those done, I was like, you know what? I think I could do another. And I grabbed another basket and dumped it on my bed and took care of that basket of laundry. Until the next thing you know, I had all the laundry put away. And then because I was in a clearer space and I had accomplished something, it gave me this sense of accomplishment, which then built a little momentum in me. And so later in that day, I found myself doing another task and then another task. And then, I said to my husband, I need to do something for me. And for me, bouncing back, going back to that point, is that I've had a baby 11 months ago. I am not in the body that I had prior to getting pregnant with that baby, and that bothers me. I know that I'm so much more than this body and blah, 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 but that really bothers me that I don't feel and look my best. And so I decided, who am I trying to be with this workout plan? What is my purpose of this? Because, I've lifted weights, I've done things in the past prior to having the baby where I was in like the best shape of my life before the pandemic hit. And I want to be back into this particular body that feels really healthy and good and strong. And so I decided, like, you know what I think I want to do? I think I want to go to a yoga class. I think that will get me just like moving in my body again. And then that will kind of pave the way for me to get back to this body. Not that yoga is going to burn a million calories and that's going to help me lose weight or anything, but really just becoming one with myself again, tapping back into the breath, getting out of my head space and back in just inside of me. And so I decided to sign up for a yoga class, which, by the way, if you are dealing with any sort of depression, you think that load of laundry, folding it is really hard and heavy, try to sign up for something that's social. Not that the yoga class is a super social place, but there are people there. And it's putting yourself in a very uncomfortable environment because I've never met any of these people and I've actually never even taken a yoga class like that. So what I did was I found a local yoga practice in a place where I could go do yoga, and I signed up for a beginner's package, and I picked a date, and I was like, I'm going on Saturday. And I told myself, you're going. And I know that when you are depressed, that is so much easier said than done. And people are like, talk to me, I'll help you, come here with me, do this. And all of those things just don't sound appealing. But I know at the end of the day, no one's going to help you. Like, I know that can sound really rough, but nobody's helping you at the end of the day. Recently, I heard the news that somebody from my past, a friend of the past, had committed suicide. And I was talking to my husband about it, and I said, I understand why. And don't worry, I'm not suicidal, but I have been before. If you're familiar with any of my story in 2011, I had really bad anxiety. It was a health scare. I started having general anxiety disorder, and I got to a point where I felt like ending my life was the answer. And it's because life was hard and burdensome. And I'm not talking about just like the weight of a task. I'm talking about it made sense to me that I should end my life because that voice in our head can be so deceitful the further and further we fall down. Well, here's the thing. When somebody commits suicide, I see all these posts all over social media where, and I get it, the intentions are so pure, but people will say, this is my cry to you. If you ever feel that low, call me. I will answer the phone. I will be there for you. And we all kind of deal with our grief differently. And so I think when we know that we lost somebody, we want to tell the rest of our community, don't ever let yourself get this far down. Call me, talk to me. I'll be there for you. But the thing is, as a person who has dealt with this myself, you're not calling anybody. Because when you get to that point in your mind, you're that deceived in your mind, it makes so much sense. It is the answer. Why would you call for help? You don't want help at that point. The warning signs come before that. And actually, a lot of times, the warning signs don't even look like warning signs. And so, really, what it comes down to, as much as we want to help others, the person who's dealing with it, the person who's thinking it, the person who feels alone and isolated and tucked away and hopeless, that person, who I've been multiple times, they have to make a decision. They have to make a decision. There's nothing you can do for them. So it's the person who's going through it has to make a decision. Do I believe this or not? Am I going to make a long term decision? Am I gonna do something that creates a permanent decision for something that's temporary? I know that that is like just words to somebody who's suffering from depression. And I know everybody knows that there's help. There's all sorts of resources and people that you could reach out to, but when you're deceived in your mind, you feel like nobody cares. Nobody wants to hear me whine. I've had people tell me before, you're just bluesy, and then you feel even more isolated because you're like, there's no way I'm going to talk about how I'm actually feeling. And sometimes too, you just don't know how you feel, right? So going to yoga, I felt like I need to go somewhere. I need to get out of my natural environment that I've been in this isolated space, and just go be somewhere. I don't want to talk to friends because I don't feel like they understand, but I just want to go be in a new environment where I feel like I could do something kind to and for myself. And so I went to this yoga class and she said, put your hand on your heart and on your stomach. And when I did, I felt like just my body that I don't feel proud of right now. And I just embraced it for a minute. Like, I felt this voice inside of me just say, this amazing body had a baby, had three babies. There is life in this world because of your body, what you were able to give to these little people, little humans that lived here for a time, that were protected and safe in this space because of you and because of your body. And so I realized that I had been so unkind to me. And I'm not a person that really has like a lot of negative self-talk. I'm remotely healthy. I like to take care of myself. I love getting my hair done, putting on a little bit of makeup and all those things to feel really great. I'm just not somebody who gives myself a lot of negative talk. And I realized that because I am overweight, I don't look like my old self. And I'm getting up there in age at this point, that I just have not been kind. I've been expecting something out of me when, like, something out of me physically, when mentally I really just need some TLC. And it's my responsibility for that. Like, yeah, I can get some intervention and get some people to help me, but I don't even know what I need. So how would I ask for help if I don't know what I need? It's really more about understanding, where am I at? Just where am I at in time and space right now? And asking myself the question, why are you so hard on yourself? Because your body doesn't look like it did prior to having a baby, or that I feel like within 11 months, I should have been back to that post baby body. And so, anyway, being at the yoga class, I realized that I was touching this body and being gentle and kind and present with it for the first time in a really long time. And tears just really just came out. They just flowed out of my eyes. And I realized, like, I'm sorry. That was the word of, like, what is a word you want to say to yourself? You want to carry with you through the practice tonight. This is another night. But as I embraced my body, I said to myself, I am sorry. And I shocked myself that that was what I wanted to say to me. But I needed it. So as much as the outside world could help cater to me, I really just needed to come back to me and say, I'm sorry, and just spend time with me and start seeing the amazing things my body can do. Not only has it hosted children, but being able to move and stretch and breathe and be in sync with myself was so nurturing and something that I needed so badly. Um, I have felt better, just mentally better, by going to a couple of yoga classes. Now, that's not enough. I mean, I was sharing with my husband, as you can see, my husband and I talk a lot about this stuff, but I was sharing with my husband that when he asked, do I need help? I said, if I have to get there, I have no shame in doing that. But what I would prefer to do first before getting medicated is seeing if I could make some changes. And they're going to be hard, because if I had the energy and the motivation to get up and do anything, I would. But it was more about not how I felt or what I thought I could do. It was just about doing what is one practical thing that I could do. And that one practical thing of folding laundry let me know that I'm capable. And then the next thing you know, I was able to make a schedule myself to go to a yoga class, which is, I mean, that's kind of abrupt and big, but I was able to do it. And then I showed up to it, which helps me rebuild confidence in myself that I am able and capable. And also just being kind to myself and being with myself and realizing that I like me. I have always liked me. And for some reason, over the past year, I have not been kind to myself. And that's a slow fade. That just it seems like it comes out of nowhere, but it builds up over time, little by little by little. And so then when I start to ask myself, why are you so hard on yourself? What is it that is making you feel like you've not been enough? Why would you feel like you are supposed to lose all of that baby weight in such a short amount of time? And to be honest, I don't really know yet. I know that for me, with the other two, I lost it. I worked really hard and I lost that weight really fast by like cutting calories like super low and doing exercise running. And this time around, I have too much knowledge of how that's not healthy for your body to go into a really low calorie deficit, and that postpartum depression is something real. I always feel like that's kind of like you're just making excuses for not doing the work. And then when you're in that, you're like, holy crap, it's so much more than just wanting to do the work. So, doing the practical things, getting myself to do one thing, momentum breeds momentum. And when you do one thing and you have an accomplishment, you can do another thing and have an accomplishment. But going back to the being in that low place and reaching out for help, the person who helps you in the lowest place is you. You're the person that is there in that place. What your mind can tell you, this makes so much sense, this is what you should do, this is how it should be, all of those shame things that are coming at you. And the question is whether you believe that or not. There is always hope. Always. There's always a way to change your perspective. There's always a way to reframe. When I feel my body now and I'm touching on the squishiness of my belly, I realized this is a home. This body was a home. This body is healthy. This body is strong. This body is capable of transforming into something else. It doesn't have to do it today. This body holds my breath. This body is one that gives hugs to little children, my little children, that loves my husband well. This body houses my soul, all of my energy, my creativity. The expression of me moves through this body. And that is something to be very proud of, regardless of what it looks like. And when I get to the surface of why does it matter, besides health, obviously, why does it matter what I look like? It's because I want to be loved and I want to feel important and I want to be seen and I want people to like me. All the things that we think we don't want, we want. We've been wanting it since we were little kids. The first day we showed up to that kindergarten class, grade school, whichever you remember first, we just wanted to be a part of something. We wanted to be loved. We wanted to know that we matter, that we're worth something at the end of the day, that we're special and unique. And I think through growing up and these lies that are around us or that we interpret from the society around us says, if I look this way, act this way, talk this way, be this way, I am loved and liked and honorable and worthy and all the things that give us value and hope for who we are and for what we can contribute back to the world. And so if I'm not a high level executive in a company and I don't have this rockin' body and I don't have this perfect aesthetic look, then who am I then? Who am I if I'm a nobody? What does a nobody even mean? What does it mean to be a somebody? And what are we seeking when we want to be quote unquote somebody? Would we even like the attention that that brings? What are the deep things inside of us that we naturally have and want to share with the world. Focus time on our gifts and our treasures. A lot of those things are unseen. Instead of throwing them on TikTok to see if we can go viral, would we even want to be viral? Have you ever read the comments section of some of the videos that go viral? Like, people are so mean. Like, do you have the backbone to handle that? Do you want that? What value are we bringing back to the world, whether it goes viral or not, regardless of the status of it all? What are we contributing back to this world that might make a difference? I think that there's just so much to unpack in here, and I know that this can seem a bit rambly, but hello, I'm April. Welcome to my rambling world. I don't do well scripted ever. I just had this really heavy on my heart to share some of the things I've been feeling, and a lot of times I won't just turn on the recorder and start talking because I feel like I don't really have much to say. Um, and yet, here we are 20 minutes in, and clearly there's a lot to say. I just don't know if a lot of it makes sense. But I figured I could turn on record and drop this out of my head here, just these ramblings, just sharing them with the world for whoever would want to listen. And maybe it's relatable. Maybe it's worth something. And if not, it's almost like journaling without having to write it down. I know that I am so much more than a job title or the way my body looks. I know that I give so much more to the world than what I give myself credit for. And I think when we're surrounded by social media and all the things around us, just period, there is this I don't know, how do I say it? There is a nonverbal communication that we need to be somebody. And I think one of the most humble realizations that I've had recently is that I am nobody. Like, absolutely nobody. My whole life, I've been looking for acceptance, to be seen, to be heard, to be known, to matter, to be contributing something back to the world with the gifts that I have. And I've come to the realization that I'm absolutely nobody, nothing special. None of it matters as far as like what I think. And I know that can sound like a little like, oh, should we check in on her and get her a little bit of help? But hear me out, okay? It's actually very healing for me because I've had these expectations that maybe somebody out there owes me something and they don't. And I feel like sometimes I should be further along in my life than where I am, and I'm not. And it pulls me from the present quite often, especially over this past year when I haven't been feeling my best, that I should be somewhere that I'm not, when everything that I'm looking for is already with me. Everything that you're seeking is already with you. And I think a lot of times that we're looking for somebody on the outside to help make us feel whole, to help get us to the next level, to elevate us, to see our gifts and talents and say, you have so many gifts and talents. Let me give you a pedestal for that. Let me give you a stage for those things. And the thing is, we just don't want to do the work at the end of the day. Like, hear me out. I'm finishing up my second book. It was due in June. It was supposed to be released in June. It is going on July now, and it's still not done. It's nobody's fault that it's not done. It is mine. If I would sit down, get all the distractions away from me, and just write, the book would be done and released. And it will be. I've got plans to get it completed. It's on the calendar. I have made my commitment. But it's not because I don't have time. It's not because I'm busy. It's not because I don't have energy. All of the things may be true to some degree, but it's because I'm just not doing the work. And so something I've been asking myself a lot lately is, why do you want to do this? Why do I want to write books? What am I actually trying to share because of that? Why am I sitting here recording myself? Do I want fame? Do I want the attention? Do I want to feel valuable in some way. And I've come to the conclusion that when I have a job, decent jobs too, with decent pay, a lot of times I'm not fulfilled. And I'm not fulfilled because I feel like I'm not bringing value. I feel like in my life, I have been given gifts that people do enjoy. Like they have told me, wow, this really spoke to me, especially when I write or when I speak about certain things. The outside world has told me that. It's the thing that comes natural to me. It's a thing I love doing even when nobody is around and there's no audience. But it's also the thing I do and feel proud of and want to share back with the world. Like, this is for you too. It's like this cycle of give and get back, and it fuels my soul. And that is why we want to contribute to something while we're here. And like, yes, I have little people, and they're gonna just probably need therapy because I'm their mom. But no matter how hard I try, that's a whole different podcast for a different day. But I just want to give something back. I want to know that I matter, that what I do matters, that there was some sort of purpose and reason for me to even be here at the end of the day, and that it contributed to something more than just myself and more than just feeling good about myself and what I brought to the table. So, to sum this up and come back to yoga, there's part of the practice that we were coming up to the end, and I'm sitting here right now actually with my hand on my heart and hand on my stomach because this is the a move that we do at the end of yoga, and it always kind of brings me back to this sense of self. And I felt like at the end of yoga, as we were laying there, the instructor said, don't look at this as the end. Think of this more as a transition as to where we're going next. And it was so relaxing and so beautiful. And I remember just sitting there in silence with my hand on my heart and hand on my belly, just complete forgiveness to myself for being such a jerk to me. And as I sat there in the silence and moved through the thoughts of my laundry and my grocery list, and this has been so relaxing, I don't want it to be over, and all of those thoughts, and I went into a meditative state. I see this like flashes of purple behind my eyes. I always see the flashes of purple when I'm really meditative. And I don't know how to explain this. It's not that you're hearing it like, it's kind of like in your mind's eye, kind of like you're seeing and hearing, but it's not like a vision, but if you know, you know. I am in this meadow and there's lots of greenery and children are there. And I'm a child there. And I hear the giggles and the laughter, and children are running around laughing, just free as could be. And I hear one of the little girls say, she's here. She's come back. And I hear the other children excited and they're laughing and they're like, hi, hey, welcome back. And that one little girl that says she's here, she's come back, she is just glued to me. She is so happy that I'm there. And not so much that she's making this big deal about like, oh my gosh, you're so amazing. Here you are. It was more so about you've come back to join us. Not that I was the most special person there, but I was part of them. These little girls that were playing and giggling in this meadow garden type thing. And they were free. And it took me back to being a little girl and just how free and flexible you feel. And you don't care about all the worries of the world. And that I really feel what that meant was that this little girl that was seeing me and inviting me back and excited to see me, that was little me. That was me as a child. And bringing me, the heart of me, that little girl that still lives in me, back to that place in the meadow where I feel most alive and seen and heard and understood. And not like I have to be this elevated figure there, but that I'm just part of this community with these little girls, with these people. Like I just belong there, not as more or less, but just be there in all my childhood state and all the magic and curiosity and wonder that we have in those places. And it made my heart so happy. And I left there completely refreshed, really, really just amazed by this little girl and curious about her as well. So, my friends, all of that to say today, wherever you are, whatever you have going on, let's just take a moment. Just a breath. The breath is with us when we're born, it's with us till the end. It is our companion and will be with us. Just have a moment with the breath. Know that wherever you are in this moment in your life, I almost just don't have words. I just need to feel those words for a minute. Wherever you are in your life right now, there is purpose. You matter. You're seen. And it might be a season just behind the scenes. But you know what you need. And no one's coming for you in that place. And I don't say that to discourage you. I say that to empower you. You can change the narrative. You can tell destructive thoughts, this is a lie, and I don't believe it. And if you're afraid right now and you're holding yourself back from something, I really want to invite you to ask yourself, what are you so afraid of? And just explore that question. What am I so afraid of? It's something I've been doing a lot now. Or what am I believing that is making me feel this way or think this way? Those are a couple of great questions to ask yourself. And I'll tell you, I'll ask you today, what's one practical thing that you could do right now that can make you feel better? One practical thing. And if you just do that one thing today, that's okay. There's no judgment here. I'm just sharing. I'm just asking. I'm just curious. We are all so interconnected. This goes so much deeper than we could ever imagine or know. You're so much more than what you give yourself credit for. If your body's a little more squishy than it normally is, that's okay. That's what I'm telling myself. That is okay. We don't have to be anything right now. Maybe this season is not about being anything. It's just about connection, reconnecting, making sure that we're breathing like a full breath, making sure that we're utilizing our gifts and talents somewhere, not for the show of it, but for the passion of whatever that looks like. Really disconnecting so that we could be reconnected first to ourselves, then to our community and the loved ones around us, and then, the ripple effect goes from there. You are so incredibly powerful. You are. Like, let me say it again. You, yes, you are so incredibly powerful. Beyond what you could ever imagine. I want to invite you today to step just one step fully into that power. It's already yours. It's not something you have to seek or earn. It's just already yours. I want to invite you into that place with me today because I'm there too. And we are in this together. So much love, so much light to you, my friend. Talk soon.